we have to establish that confidence in their minds that we can do this job better than they could have done.
Oh.
And that is difficult when young professionals join the workforce.
What does a consultant do? It's a very glamorous but very vaguely defined field.
To put it in very theoretical terms is that we solve problems for companies. Wherever a corporate is not able to solve problems in the most effective or efficient way, a consulting firm steps in, offers expertise, offers efficiency, and tries to solve that problem. So they look for people who come across as people who want to push the bar, who are willing to make a higher effort.
Good point that you made was the fact that you need to be open to challenges at the beginning of your career so that you can learn as much as you can.
Correct.
And I think that's true of pretty much any field, not just
correct, absolutely.
But let's now talk about career progression. Hello everyone, welcome to the third episode of our Future You series. And today we have Anushree talking to us. She's a chartered accountant. She also has an MCom, which I just discovered. And she's done her PGP from Ahmedabad. She has also been working with BCG for about 3 years. Now, I'm sure, Anushree, you have a few more things to add to that. Anything else that you'd like to say?
Yeah. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for having me here today. Before my MBA, I worked for a year with Blue Star Limited in their corporate finance team. I had a unique profile of risk and control management, more about fraud risk management. So yeah, that's where I am right now.
I think you would have a lot of opportunities to travel as a part of your job, right?
Correct.
So how is that?
Correct. So consulting as a profile demands travel because we usually work out of our client offices, visit clients for meetings, do workshops, actually work on ground with the client itself, right? Okay. So we need to travel wherever the client office is, or wherever, if we are doing an ops project, it also requires us to visit factories. So those could also be very remote locations in the country or even outside. So I do enjoy traveling, but I also am very comfortable in Mumbai. So every weekend I like to come back to Mumbai, to my home.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, since you mentioned this, that the fact that you travel to a lot of remote locations, have you ever felt unsafe or uncomfortable doing that, or has that not been an issue for you?
I have never felt unsafe, but definitely if we are in a remote location, most consulting companies take care of travel. They definitely arrange for very safe modes of transportation. So that is taken care of. So we are never unsafe. We never feel unsafe at work or whenever we are traveling. Of course, there's some certain kind of precautions that we also take. Like if we are in an unknown place, we definitely try to come home by or come back to hotel in a definite time period. So that's taken care of, but never felt unsafe really.
Okay. So I'm going to take you a little ways back now.
Yeah.
You are already a chartered accountant, or you have been.
Yeah.
And then you decide to pursue an MBA.
Yeah.
So what I would want to understand is why.
Yeah.
What does the MBA give you that chartered accountancy does not?
Yeah. Yeah. So in India, the CA course is designed in a manner that usually people start pursuing it right after their college, which is the 12th standard, junior college. So people are 18. So I was 18. My father is a chartered accountant, which is why that was the normal decision.
It was the way to go.
Yeah, it was the way to go. So I took up that course and I enjoyed most of the subjects of the CA course. I was brilliant at accountancy. So that was another motivation to continue and finish it. But during my articleship, which is the internship for the CA course, I realized that my personality is more such that I enjoyed communication. I enjoyed interacting with clients. I really liked on-ground execution a lot more than sitting in a place and crunching numbers.
Okay.
So looking at the prospects of a CA course, I realized maybe exploring some more aspects of a professional life would be better. And then when I got to know a little more about the MBA colleges in India, I realized there is a lot more scope that I can explore.
Okay.
And I definitely also enjoyed. So my inclination was also towards jobs that make me solve problems on ground or interact with people, allow me to explore different problems for different industries. So I did not want to be restricted to one particular company in one particular department, which is why I decided very early on in my CA journey only that after my CA course, I will be pursuing MBA. What is very different in MBA courses, the course actually demands you to network with people, seek help, also help others, because the course is designed in a manner that most of your assignments, most of your tasks are group related, right?
Okay.
So there are group assignments, group studies. During placement season, you have to go and interact with seniors, alumni, or the professionals working in your dream company, so that you can get to know more about the professional life as well. So the course actually demands you to work in teams, understand each other's strengths, then work together to solve a problem or to chase a goal. I also feel that in MBA you are taught a lot of interpersonal skills like communication, leadership, multitasking, time management. All these skills get developed in the course of 2 years because the course is designed in that manner.
So, see, a lot of people say that, MBA helps develop your personality or it brings out certain aspects that you may not have realized. Was that
Correct.
true of you?
100%.
Yeah.
I was definitely someone who was very comfortable with public speaking,
Okay.
but to do that in a very high pressure, high competitive environment is difficult, and that is what the course taught me.
Okay.
It taught me to do different things at the same time and be decently good at all of it. So in top tier colleges, it's expected of you, and you also want to kind of put the bar quite high for your own self, right? Because most of the students have done their basic college education and have come for an MBA for that edge in their CV or that edge in their professional life. So so everyone tries to push themselves a little higher, and definitely it also it gives you the opportunity to meet people from very diverse backgrounds, right? Somebody could be a marketing graduate, very good at designing, or uh, maybe digital designing of logos or something, and somebody could be very good at numbers, somebody could be excellent at finance. So when you talk to people of different backgrounds, you tend to enhance your knowledge also, and you also get to know a lot more about different opportunities outside of MBA. So I think that was a very key highlight for me as well.
Now let's talk about the core part, which is consulting.
Yeah.
So first of all, is it difficult to make an entry into the field? Do you have to go to the top B schools to get there, or do you have to be a particular kind of person to get there?
Not really, but I like to break that answer into two parts. So if you're aiming for a tier 1 consulting firm, the likes of Mckinsey, BCG, Bain, then being in a tier 1 MBA college, you have higher chance of getting into a tier 1 consulting firm. If you're from a tier 2 MBA college or a B school, you will definitely get opportunities, but the chances are lesser because the slots open in a consulting firm for tier 1 and tier 2 college students is different. But there are also tier 2 consulting firms, which are the likes of maybe Kearney or A&M, Accenture, the big fours. These companies definitely go for placements in tier 2 and tier 3 B schools as well. There are niche consulting firms, there are consulting firms that focus on a single type of consulting. So those opportunities are also there. And if that aligns with your profile, just to give an example, if you're really enthusiastic in supply chain, for example, then there are companies that focus on ops consulting, right?
Okay.
Then you have the highest chance of getting picked by that particular firm. So it does not mean that you have lesser chances. You just have to match the fit, like you have to match the profile that a company is seeking.
Then I think what I would like to ask is there something that a student can do to enhance the possibility of being picked up by one of these firms?
Again, I'll answer it in two parts. One thing that we definitely look into a resume is basically whether the person is being able to do multiple things at the same time, which calls for a well-rounded CV, which we call, right? Whether that person has some presence in extracurricular activities, has done some kind of sports, or has done some internships, has a work experience or not, is decently good at academics or not. It does not look for one particular brilliance. It looks for something like a person who has done multiple things at the same time and has done decently well in all of those. Right? That is the resume part of it, and that can be built until a certain time. Of course, you can keep adding things to it, but you cannot change your academic background, right, once you reach an MBA. But the second part of it is you can definitely develop skills which will come across in an interview or in your interactions with the company which is coming for placements. So the skills that definitely help is communication skills. You definitely have to be a decently confident communicator or a conversationalist to come across as somebody who's confident to put their views across, right? So they look for people who come across as people who want to push the bar, who are willing to make a higher effort.
All right. So the next question probably then should be, what does a consultant do?
Yeah.
It's a very glamorous but very vaguely defined field.
Correct.
Right? So can you shed some light on that?
Correct. It definitely is vague. To put it in very theoretical terms, is that we solve problems for companies, right?
Okay.
That's what even ChatGPT would answer. But what is a very unique feature of consulting firms which do majorly strategy consulting, is that wherever a corporate is not able to solve problems in the most effective or efficient way, a consulting firm steps in, offers expertise, offers efficiency, and tries to solve that problem. It could also be a problem. It could also mean increasing the capacity or the efficiency or the effectiveness of a particular company, right?
Okay.
It can be also a problem solving in a very strategy term. To give an example, a company, for example, wants to enter the US market for their particular product range. It could also mean finding out where in US would be the right place for them to enter in, which industry would be the right place to enter in. So that could be a very strategy-based project for a consulting firm. A very execution-based project could be something like a pharmaceutical company wants to create an app for doctors or for patients, right? A pharmaceutical company is not an expert in creating apps. It would not have the internal capability maybe to develop something like that. So in that case, they feel it's much more better to hire a consulting firm who can do it for them and run the app also in a lot of cases. So there are two kinds of work that we do. One is strategy solving, strategic decision making for a particular company, aiding the management in making the right calls. And second is implementing a solution which will be run in a much more effective way and lead results in a faster manner. So that is how I would put it.
So here I just want to interject and say that there are a lot of jokes about consultants. I'm not sure whether you're familiar with all of them.
I am.
Okay. So do you feel that sometimes it's difficult for you to make inroads into a company because a lot of the employees there might feel that they already know what these problems are or that they have the solutions, right?
Correct.
So do you think that a consultant has a unique view that the employees of the company may not have?
Correct. So definitely this is a challenge that all consulting firms in their initial interaction with the clients or their initial engagement time face, because we have to establish that confidence in their minds that we can do this job better than they could have done. Right? And that is difficult when young professionals join the workforce, because majorly in most of the companies, the senior management would be someone who has been in the firm for a very long time. In that case, it's very important for the consulting firm to establish that belief in them that they would be able to solve this. And for that, definitely people from the consulting firm get engaged in a certain manner. To give an example, the partners or the very senior management of a particular consulting firm will definitely get involved in the first few engagements with the client, instill that belief, and not just in a very theoretical way, but also back it up with a lot of research. So in consulting firms, the first meeting with the client is considered extremely important, and in that meeting we go very prepared. We do a lot of pre-work. We get our numbers right, research about the companies, look at how the problem that the company is facing are solved elsewhere in the world. And we go with that data-backed insights. And that particular initial set of engagements ensure that the client trusts the consulting firm. It's a difficult job, but I'm sure they do it very well, because the kind of support we get from our clients is immense after that, because this work cannot be done in isolation, right? To understand their problem, we need to work with them very closely to understand their problems, where we could find capacity from them. So this has to be worked together collaboratively, and that is why it's important that they trust consultants more once we start engaging with them.
So I guess people skills would be pretty important.
Correct. Yeah. People skills are extremely important. Yeah.
So we were just talking about how at the beginning of one's career, one kind of needs to be open to travel, challenges, learning, and so on, right?
Correct.
But let's now talk about career progression. So you did mention that after the first 2-3 years, you might be able to find a slightly different path for yourself.
Correct.
But is there a typical sort of a path that this field takes?
Right. So immediately after MBA, what happens is people join at the senior associate level in most consulting firms. The tag could be anything, definitely. And then there's 4 years of consulting wherein they are involved in the working team, right? They will do the on-ground execution, the on-ground problem solving. So 4 years of being a consultant, after which there is a major shift of becoming a project leader, or a leader that manages a particular team of 4 or 5 consultants. That's a major change. After that, there's 4 years of managing after 4 years of managing a particular project, then there's a progression of being promoted to a partner, and few years after that, a managing director and partner. This is a particular progression: 4 years of consulting, wherein you're on ground, 4 years of project lead, project managing stuff, and then there's a partner role that you shift to.
Okay.
So, and every 2 years you have a promotion cycle that we call, which is a hike in your salary plus a different tag to your name, as simple as that. The usual course of action that people usually take is that the first 4 years, at least 3 years out of the 4 years, people explore different industries, right? They try to find which industry do they find the most interesting to work in. For me, it was that I was somebody with a finance background, so I wanted to work more in tech, because consulting gave me that option. So I did a lot of tech projects, I did a lot of tech clients. I tried to explore problems that I hadn't looked at as a finance professional until then. So I did everything except finance.
Okay.
And which is why it required me to travel to different countries, different places in India. Now, as I'm close to completing 3 years and probably go into a more managerial role in a few years, I am looking to find one particular industry that is suited best to my strengths. Whatever expertise I've taken up in the last 3 years, I want to focus on those more, so that in about 2 or 3 years time, I'll be able to manage a team and offer some expertise to my clients, right?
Okay.
So first 4 years people do explore, and then they kind of stick to a particular industry or a particular type of problem. So it could be an industry like a healthcare industry, or a consumer goods industry, or a industrial goods, or finance companies, or it could be a horizontal, which we call in most consulting companies, which is basically your expertise in solving problems. That could be something like solving for digital enablement for clients, or solving for supply chain problems, right? So once you get this expertise in the first 4 years, it's better for you to ensure that clients also trust you at a managerial position, because you've gotten certain expertise, you have experience from your past cases. And after 4 years of project management, you're typically an expert in one particular industry, and that is what forms most of your client base.
Okay.
So right now, I am in the position of finding a particular industry and sticking to it, so that I can use my expertise in the last 3-4 years and now stick to that particular practice area, is what we call it. but the first 4 years, I definitely explored a lot of industries. There was no restriction. People come in with the assumption that because I'm a CA, I'll be only able to work with banks, or I'll only be able to work in finance sector. That's totally not the case in consulting, which is what I love about it. Even for engineers, they can totally come and solve finance problems. Somebody who
they'll be
was
happy to know that.
correct. So somebody who has done maybe is a marketing graduate or is a design graduate would be solving different problems at different clients, right? That variety, that diversity is what a lot of students crave for. And consulting is one industry that helps you get that exposure in the first 4 years.
Okay.
And because it's a high demanding job, people learn very quickly in a consulting firm. The learning curve that you see in a person who's joined just maybe a year back is huge. It's steep, because we are enabled also, and we are mandated also to learn very quickly so that we can get better at our jobs.
Do you feel that there are certain assumptions that people make about this field that you personally would like to demolish? And if so, what are these?
I think first one, very funny, that people think that consultants only make slides. That is not true.
Who thinks that?
No, a lot of people in colleges feel that they only present on paper, and there's no real implementation or impact that happens. Honestly, a lot of it is convincing a senior management. So we do put beautiful slides together to kind of be able to convince that this is the right solution for client. But a lot of it, like 90% of it, is actually solving a problem. So that's a funny assumption that I'd want to bust right now. And second is that a consulting firm will only be able to solve the problem superficially. That's not true. Like, I genuinely feel that we go to the very root cause of the problem, something that the company would not have even imagined or not explored at all, and solve the problem for them. Right?
Picture of the field that you painted, because I know for sure that you cleared some of my misconceptions, because I was being misled by a lot of those jokes about consultants. But now it's far better. I think we should end by asking you, what is the advice that you would give to future aspirants before they take CAT, after they take CAT, once they're in Bschool at any level?
I think while you're preparing for CAT, focus is very important. So people who keep worrying about that my profile is not good enough to get into a top tier Bschool, or I don't have a rank at a certain level, I don't have a well-rounded CV, so I probably won't make the cut to my dream MBA school. That should be kept aside, and the focus should only be on preparation. That is what I did. And I feel one thing that is helpful for people all across these stages is seek for help when you need it. I was very fixated on preparing for CAT on my own, but when I felt that doing it with a job was difficult, I tried and went for coaching, right? I was open to it. So I feel that is some advice I want to give to everyone.
I think that's very good insight, because a lot of people feel that it's a very competitive field, and you want to keep your insecurities to yourself rather than reveal them. But apparently you're saying that that's not the way to go all the time.
Yeah.
Okay. Anushree, thank you so much for saving some time for us and having this discussion. I think I learned a lot about the field, and I think that you were very, very candid about your experiences, which definitely helped. So thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a great conversation. Thank you.